And children cross the U.S.-Mexico border illegally every day.
So far this year, our Border Patrol agents have arrested more than 2,000 people in the Big Bend sector alone.
We felt the impacts of the illegal immigration right here in the Permian Basin. Just a year ago, authorities raided the Tuscany apartments, arresting dozens of construction workers in the biggest raid ever in Midland County. Local officers assisted in the raid. However, in situations involving undocumented residents, a federal agency had to step in and make those arrests.
Tonight, CBS7's Shelley Childers takes an in-depth look at illegal immigration and what she uncovered during a simple traffic stop.
She joined us now in the newsroom with this special report. Shelley?
We traveled to Concho County in Central Texas for a story on drug trafficking. But while we were there, we watched as law enforcement agents pulled over a group of people who confessed to being illegal immigrants. Then we watched as the deputies let them go, explaining to us that they had no choice. Most law enforcement officers will tell you no traffic stop is routine. They never know who they're pulling over or what they'll find. And on this Friday evening in Concho County, deputies turned up 3 illegal immigrants, all coming from a painting job.
Yeah, but I'm working right now for my paper.
Then you should have done it in the first place.
One of the men had a warrant out of Georgia, a warrant he'd been fleeing for a decade.
He had a warrant from 2002 out of Georgia for a failure to appear on a cocaine distribution charge, and he was illegally in the country at that time, and he's still illegally in the country now.
And as expected, all 3 were arrested and turned over to Border Patrol. But that is not always the case. A few hours later, in the middle of their overnight shift, these deputies made another traffic stop for speeding.
Ma'am, do you have your driver's license on you?
No.
No? Do you know the number?
No.
No? Does anybody have a license? No. Nobody has a driver's license.
As it turned out, the driver was traveling with a suspended driver's license, a crime local law enforcement have the power to handle. But everything changed when the passengers admitted they did not have legal documents to be in the United States.
You've been expired for 5 years.
Yeah. Where were you born?
Mexico?
Do you have a resident card or anything?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Honestly, are you illegal right now?
Yeah.
You're illegal right now?
I'm fixing my papers.
You're fixing your papers? Okay. I appreciate you being honest with me, sir.
3 adults in the truck admitted they were here without proper documents, and just like the first traffic stop, this became a federal issue. But this time, instead of making an arrest, instead of detaining them for illegally being in the U.S., the driver was given 2 citations for a suspended driver's license and no insurance, and they were allowed to go free.
The situation with the illegal immigrants that were released today was they had a small minor child in the vehicle with them, and there simply wasn't the means or the opportunity to place that child in a safe environment.
More than likely, that 8-year-old child is a legal U.S. citizen born in the United States. He needs his parents to take care of him. Some of the situation with Border Patrol, the current time we stopped them, it was just impractical for them to come, so they were released. If you get stopped again, I don't know what'll happen, okay?
While these deputies tell us this group was let go for the safety of a child, they say situations like this are a growing frustration.
How many times did you say that you get turned away from Border Patrol?
Probably 35% of the time we call them.
That sounds like a lot to me.
That is a lot.
During the stop, these deputies called their Border Patrol sector in Del Rio, who then put them in contact with the on-call agent in San Angelo.
If we stop one, see that there's crime being committed by illegal aliens, we contact Border Patrol. Border Patrol says, yes, we want them, or no, we don't want them.
So it's just one call, yes or no?
Yeah, basically.
So we called the sector office in Del Rio, who told us they could not find a record from the call, but said this.
It's case by case. It's just a matter of what the determination is made between the agents who are answering the call when it comes in, as far as at our sector offices, and the discussion they have with local law enforcement.
When you see them just driving away knowing they are illegal, what's going through your head?
It's extremely frustrating. You want to jump up and stop them again and bring them back, but you know you can't.
We can't, being a local law enforcement agency, enforce federal regulations you know, in immigration.
So we went straight to someone who deals with federal regulations every day, U.S. Congressman Mike Conaway.
If the Border Patrol were called and they chose not to come pick those folks up, then that's a chink in the system that needs to be addressed and fixed.
These deputies tell us their fix would be to have the authority to make arrests without waiting on a federal agency.
Hopefully Texas will follow Arizona and implement a law where state law can be enforced.
The Arizona illegal immigration law is considered one of the strictest in recent U.S. history. It makes it a crime to be in that state without proof of citizenship and allows a local police officer to make an arrest for that reason. It's a law the state of Texas doesn't have.
It's just not as simple as, okay, you now can arrest illegal aliens.
Deputy Chief Patrol Agent Kari Huffman with the Border Patrol sector in Big Bend admits that the further away from the border you travel, the less presence Border Patrol has, but says giving local officers the authority to enforce federal laws is complicated.
If they chose to arrest them, then they would have to take them somewhere, detain them somewhere, pay for those costs somewhere.
You can see the negative results of a state trying to take on immigration reform on their own. You can just look at Arizona.
Art Leal with the group Unida is firmly against Texas taking on its own immigration law and says instead more immigrants should be allowed to legally come in.
Everybody wants to come to the great American melting pot, the land of the free. There's a legal process to do that, but right now that process is taking 10 years for them to do it.
So he says if they've made it here, they should be allowed to stay here, even if it's illegally.
If they haven't committed any sort of crime, then yes, I would agree with the policy. The current policy right now is to run them through the system. If there's no criminal record there, release them and focus on those drug dealers, those drug cartels, those violent offenders.
A theory that isn't so simple for Congressman Mike Conaway and the Concho County deputies.
They've broken the law, and if they've just come here for trying to find a job, that seems relatively benign, but they broke the law. They're here illegally, and there should be consequences for that.
For this special report, we spoke with state and federal politicians, local activists, and a Texas border volunteer, all of whom say something should be done at the federal level, and that the federal government has done little at all.
The federal government has not done a really good job, in my opinion, of handling this situation, and never has.
Undocumented immigration is a problem, and it does need to be fixed. There does need to be comprehensive immigration reform. But until we have a Congress that's willing to take that on, it's not going to happen.
We've reduced the word compromise to a dirty word today, particularly with respect to immigration. Everybody wants it exactly the way they want it, or nothing. And so what happens is we're getting nothing.
A tough reality for the thousands of men, women, and children who just want a better life. And the men and women in uniform who say they just want the ability to protect and serve.
And it's a great injustice to this state and to this nation.
Reporting for CBS7 News, Shelley Childers.